Okay, so as we continue with our discussion on the pharmacodynamics interactions, we're talking about now potentiation. Just send the message in the chat or raise your hand or unmute yourselves if my audio is not clear. Huh? Okay. Now, if we have the pharmacodynamic interaction, one of two or more combined drugs exert an action greater than if it is were given alone. Okay, if you can remember that there are drugs now that are being used as broad spectrum antibiotics. Those drugs that are before in the past years are given alone based from the results of the culture and sensitivity test. But now we are using the broad spectrum antibiotics to inhibit the growth of both the gram-positive and the gram-negative bacteria. So this is a result of the what we call potentiation. So the term potent is effective and effective way of meeting the desired effect of the drugs. Another is there are some drugs that are combined together, okay, combined together so that it it is best to give those drugs in the same time so that it may have a greater effect. So sir, what's the difference between the synergistic effect between the potentiation? Sa synergistic kasi, it has a common property. For the additive effect, it has the same property. While on the potentiation, there could be totally two different drugs that once mixed together may have greater effect rather than given alone. So that's the option. While on the antagonistic effect, there are two drugs that may have a different counteract uh, indication. It may counteract indication, but it basically consider po its effect that will be helpful to each other. So this could be expanded more on the example. Okay, the example is that for potentiation, example, diazepam, which is an anxiolytic, class when you use the term lytic, mucolytic, anxiolytic, um, these are the terms being used to prevent. So that's why if we use anxiolytic, we have an anti-anxiety drug. Now, diazepam is an anti-anxiety drug. Ito yung mga PAM, Zolam, sila po yung, these are the medication suffixes that we have studied na mga anxiolytic or anti-anxiety drugs. So, diazepam can be given alone. But once it is mixed with an alcohol, the alcohol has this property to slow down impulse transmission kasi most of the cause of the anxiety is basically on the imbalanced neurotransmitters. So once it will be mixed with alcohol pa, it will have a greater effect. Diazepam could be sufficient, but once it will be given with alcohol, much that it will further further gives its greater effect. So, as what I have mentioned, what's the difference between potentiation and the synergism? Sa synergism kanina, alcohol plus acetaminophen. Alcohol has also the analgesic property. Pero once they are combined together, alcohol plus acetaminophen, which is an analgesic, it could give a greater effect. Sa potentiation naman, totally different drug na magkaiba talaga yung property niya. Then we have diazepam as anti-anxiety and the alcohol which has a different property. So pag if minix siya together, if it is combined together, it may have a greater effect. Let's proceed naman dito sa antagonistic effect. Ang charcoal po, okay, ang charcoal po has a different property that basically has the absorbent property. Ang alkaloid naman, these are drugs that contradicts or counteract acidity. Ngayon, when the individual experiences uh, overdosage, okay, to prevent yung to prevent specifically yung effect of absorption, the charcoal will be introduced to the patient, and at the same time, alkaloids will be given to the patient. Ano yung purpose? Actually, charcoal and alkaloid may have different or may have a different property that counteract each other. Now, in the antagonistic effect, the charcoal has the property to absorb the toxins. Ang alkaloid naman, it will prevent increased hydrochloric acid. What's the purpose of having decrease or to decrease hydrochloric acid? Kasi the more that it will increase hydrochloric acid, the chances na mas mabilis siya mag-facilitate ng absorption. Ngayon, to prevent that absorption, kinokontrol ng alkaloid yung hydrochloric acid. Then, alkaloid has a different function to absorb toxins and remove out of the body. Yun yung antagonistic effect. Now, since we are talking about mga common foods and drug interactions, we will now focus specifically on drug effect, on the interactions when drugs are given with food, when drugs may have overdosage or excess dosage that had been administered, what could be the effects sa nutritional, sa health, at condition in general of the individuals. Drug effect on nutritional status, abuse of antacids. Question, what are those antacids? Antacids, from the term itself, anti, these are drug of choice for hyperacidity. Now, pag nag-overdose po specifically of antacid, one of the effect is phosphate depletion. The effect of ang importance kasi ng phosphate sa body is it will help specifically absorption of vitamin D, which is very important for calcium absorption sa bone. So meron siyang domino effect. Pag nag-overdose ng antacid, it will cause phosphate depletion, magdi-decrease ang vitamin D, and the vitamin D will not facilitate absorption of calcium sa bone. So ngayon, in this situation, pag nag-overdose po pala ng antacid, pwedeng maapektuhan ang status ng ating bone. Pwedeng mag-cause siya ng softening of the bone, which will cause its fragility at pwedeng mag-chance na mag-lead into fracture or malformation. Sa softening of the bones, the medical term is osteomalacia. Kaya what are those situations pag kayo po ay nag-a-attend ng abuse of antacids? You will need to supplement vitamin D. You will need to consider also calcium level sa blood. And at the same time, how the phosphate will be revived so that to prevent the absorption of vitamin D and thus may lead to the problem with the bone. So, another antacids, ano example natin ng antacids? Antacids are, ito yung may mga magnesium, aluminum sa component ng drug. Pag sumobra po ito, ang problem nito ay this one. Ngayon, another example pa dito ay yung mga histamine 2 blocker. This is different from histamine 1. Yung histamine 1 ay present ito sa bronchi, present ito sa skin na during the time of allergic reactions, ito yung nagmamanifest pag redness, and this may cause the possibility of formation of rashes. If there is situation po, certainly of histamine 2. Histamine 2 naman are receptors identified sa stomach. Now, ang histamine 2 ang nagti-trigger po para mag-produce or mag-secrete ng hydrochloric acid. Ngayon, in this situation po, pag sumobra ang mga histamine 2 blockers, these are drugs ending in tidine. Okay? Yung mga ranitidine, famotidine, pag nag-overdose, same reactions or same effect po. Pwedeng mag-cause ng depletion ng phosphate, mag-cause ng deficiency ng vitamin D, maapektuhan ang loss ng calcium. It may cause softening of the bones. Next. How about diuretics? If you will remember po the discussion on the asynchronous session of medication suffixes, ang example po natin ng diuretics ay MIDE at thiazide. Ngayon, what is the purpose of the diuretics? The purpose of diuretics is to remove excess fluid sa body. What are those situations na may excess fluid sa body? If the patient is experiencing pitting edema, in colloquial, ito po yung manas. Now, usually, problems po ito that arise pagka merong mga kidney problems or mga congestive heart failure or yung tinatawag nating enlargement of the heart. Ngayon, since there is retention of fluid, diuretics are being given. Now, if you encounter the term diuresis, this will facilitate removal of fluids through or via kidney in a form of urine. So ibig sabihin, pag nag-diuretics ang patient, mag-cause siya, mag-stimulate siya ng pag-ihi ng patient so that to activate the function of kidney. Now, this is the problem. If the patient have taken excessive diuretics, ibig sabihin nagsobra ang take niya ng ng diuretics, excess din ang pag-remove ng fluid sa body. If there will be excess removal of fluid sa body, it could be a chance na pwede pong mag-cause ng electrolyte imbalance. Similar also to individuals na nagdadayariya at nagva-vomit, ng fluid losses niya ay pwedeng mag-lead into electrolyte imbalance na pwedeng mag-cause ng dehydration. Now, one of the electrolytes that are highly affected pag too much ang fluid losses sa body ay potassium. And that is hypokalemia. Kalemia, hypo, decrease. Calcium, cal is referring to cal is referring to potassium and emia is referring to blood. This is not a slimming pills. Hindi po ito slimming pills. Kasi yung slimming pills, yung mga diet supplements, hindi po ito. Usually, diuretics are given pagka merong pathologic conditions, certainly affecting the kidneys and the heart, and even the lungs. Pagka meron po tayong situation na lumalaki yung lungs, may mga fluids, yung lungs ay fully inflated because may mga fluids, ang heart po ay enlarged because congested siya with fluids. Ang kidney po ay hindi nagko-cause ng excretion of fluids that are not necessary for functioning. Now, itong mga situations na ito ay seemingly po nagko-cause ito nga ng nag-i-induce ito ng urine excretion. Pero pag sobra din yung urine that will be excreted by the body. Ngayon, the problem is that of pagka sobra yung fluids that are being released by the body, nagko-cause siya ngayon ng electrolyte imbalance. Pag nag-cause siya ng electrolyte imbalance, alam nyo po, ang lagi nyo pong tatandaan, ang potassium po ay very important for muscle contraction. At ang isa sa mga muscle na greatly affected ay cardiac muscle. Kaya pag mababa ang potassium, ibig sabihin mabagal din ang electrical impulse para mag-stimulate ng contraction ng heart. So, ibig nyo po bang sabihin, sir, pag mababa po ang potassium, mabagal po ang contraction ng heart, mabagal din ang response sa cardiac output, posibleng pag severe hypokalemia ay mag-cardiac arrest ang pasyente? The answer is definitely yes. Now, that's why ang resulta po pag mababa ang potassium is mabagal ang electrical impulse. So mabagal din ang response ng contraction ng heart muscle. Kaya usually ang mga problems diyan ay cardiac rhythm problems. So familiar naman tayo sa anatomy and physiology kung natatandaan ninyo ang conduction system. Ngayon, pag mababa po ang potassium, pwede po yan ma-check through ECG. Kaya that's why careful po tayo pagka nagbibigay ng diuretics dahil ito po ay posibleng mag-grease sa pagbaba ng potassium. So what could be the measures para ma-prevent rather yung potassium depletion? Pwedeng mag-supplement po tayo sa nutritional management ng mga foods that is high in potassium while the person or the patient is taking diuretics. Okay, yung sa mga cramps ng legs mo, may nabasa ako na mababa po ang electrolytes. Okay, ganito po yon. Ang potassium po kasi ay since muscle siya, muscle ang involvement niya, iba ang action ng potassium sa cardiac muscle sa skeletal muscle. Okay. Pag mababa po ang potassium, okay? Mababa po ang potassium ang effect po nito sa heart, ang cardiac muscle, mababa po ang contraction. Pagka mababa po ang potassium sa skeletal muscle, ang effect niya, skeletal muscle cramps. Kaya pag nagka-cramps po, check the electrolyte level kasi baka mababa ang potassium. So ang effect naman ng mababang potassium sa heart is slow ang contractility. Ang effect naman ng mababang potassium sa skeletal muscle ay nagkokos siya ng forceful unexpected contraction which lead to cramps. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for those questions po. And really appreciated. Next po, eto naman tayo sa oral contraceptive. Hindi rin po advisable to have prolonged use of oral contraceptives. Remember, may specific period lang po that upon professional advice of the OB ang pagte-take ng oral contraceptives. Alam niyo po ba kung bakit? 'Di ba sa kanina yung oral contraceptives na-identify natin siya as part of drugs na pwedeng maging carcinogenic, na pwedeng mag-lead into breast cancer, right? Now, if it is not basically prescribed to its appropriate indication. Ngayon, if there will be a prolonged use of oral contraceptives, alam nyo po ba na pwedeng mag-cause ito ng deficiencies sa vitamin B9 at vitamin C? Ngayon, ang vitamin B9 po ay very important. Any vitamin Bs are important for nerves. Ang vitamin C ay important for immune system. Ngayon, for a pregnant mother or rather for individuals na pwede or possibly nagtitake pa ng oral contraceptives but unaware or are conscious that she is pregnant, alam niyo po ba na because nagdi-decrease ang polacin, posibleng mag-cause ng birth defects. Kaya that's why if you will observe even in your OB, ina-advise po on the early stage of pregnancy to have intake of folic acid simply because very crucial ito sa development. Dahil it is expected during pregnancy po na bumababa ang ang folacin at high risk po sa birth defects if it is not corrected. Kaya nagiging usual prescription na siya as supplement sa pregnant mothers. So similar also sa mga nag-oral contraceptives at prolong dahil nagkukos nga po ito ng pagbaba ng vitamin B9 which is the folacin. Next po. Next naman is hydralazine. Ano naman po ang hydralazine? Ang hydralazine po ay anti-hypertensive drugs. I have mentioned a while ago that there are some situations po that the patient, okay, the patient who is pregnant po and hypertensive ay tinatawag natin gestational hypertension. If you can still remember it ha. Tapos, a pregnant mother who is experiencing hypertension, tapos mayroon siyang findings of positive protein sa urine, ang tawag na doon ay pre-eclampsia. Pag ang patient po or pregnant mother is hypertensive, may findings sa protein, nag-seizure na siya, ang tawag doon eclampsia. Ngayon, can it be managed by an antihypertensive? Yes po. But, pag ang choice of drug ng antihypertensive sa pregnant mother ay hydralazine, medyo kailangan lang natin i-consider na pwede niyang ma-deplete ang vitamin B6. Ang vitamin B6 po ay pyridoxine. Kanina, vitamin B9, di ba? Ang vitamin B9 po ay folacin. Ang vitamin B6 naman po ay pyridoxine. Tanong, will this affect the pregnant mother? The answer is yes. Why? Kasi pwedeng ang vitamin B6 ay may deplete at kung siya ay nasa peak of development sa first trimester ng fetal development, pwedeng mag-cause siya ng nerve or birth defects. So careful po din tayo. Kaya pag nalaman nyo po na pregnant yung mother, minamanage yung hypertension, nagtitake ng hydralazine, mag-call na kayo ng attention sa attending physician and clarify if we will continue to give hydralazine. Ha? Okay, next. Next naman po, may mga situations naman ha na ito very common practice. There are some situations lalo na sa children na pagka they do not want the taste of the drug. For the convenience, sinasama nyo po ang gamot sa mga milk products para to support yung inconvenience sa taste ng drug. Pero tandaan po ninyo, use of calcium in milk, example lang to ha, use of calcium in milk and milk products can decrease the absorption. Ha? Kasi lalong-lalo na sa mga antibiotics. Dinidecrease po ang absorption when it is mixed with milk and milk products kasi ang calcium itself na nasa milk and milk products po ay nagdi-decrease ng absorption, specifically for antibiotics. Clear po tayo doon. Okay, next. Ito naman po, for those naman na mga fond of drinking mga fruit juices. Fruit juices na ano talaga ha, yung concentrated fruit juices. Lalong-lalo na sa mga high acid fruit juices at vegetable juices. If you can still remember dun sa discussion natin kanina that pag mataas ang stomach pH or mataas ang hydrochloric acid, di ba nagkakaroon ng premature breakdown ng drugs. So similar din po ito. Pagka kayo po ay uminom ng drugs, any drug, sinabayan nyo pa ng mga highly acidic fruit juices, there will be a hydrochloric acid production and high acid level, lalong ini-trigger niya ang decreased stomach pH, nagkakaroon na agad ng premature breakdown of drugs. Pag nagkaroon ng premature breakdown ng drugs po, of chemical components of drugs, nadidissolve agad yung drug, nagdi-decrease ngayon yung absorption papunta ng intestine. So yun po ang dapat po nating tandaan. Always have this part of your health teachings, kaya tayo may nutrition and dietetics to correlate of what is the importance of nutrition when it comes to pharmacology and when it comes to the management of patients in these situations. Next po, paano naman po ang fatty foods? Okay, may problema po ba tayo pag nagtitake ng gamot at tayo ay nag-i-intake ng high fat foods? Okay, ganito. Aware po tayo that fatty foods or fats itself ay insoluble. So mas matagal ang ang breakdown ng fats pagdating sa stomach before it will be absorbed sa intestine. So ibig sabihin, the more or the more na or the high yung fat uh, content ng food mo, tapos isasama mo pa yung what you call this, yung drug kasabay siya, ang mangyayari diyan, nag-i-increase ngayon yung rate of absorption. Ano ibig sabihin niyan? Kasi yung fats itself magpo-produce lalo ng active hydrochloric acid synthesis. So pwede siyang mag-increase yung rate of absorption pero kulang. Just similar po ito sa Glycopulbin. This is an antifungal drug na pwedeng ma-alter yung absorption niya kasi the fatty foods itself triggers yung prolong. Okay, ganito 'yun, no? Yung prolong ng synthesis at increased hydrochloric acid na pwedeng maka-affect doon sa absorption ng drug. Next, eto po, isa pa rin po ito ha, na sometimes we are unaware. Pagdating naman po sa food effect on drug utilization, may mga anticoagulants tayo ha. Okay, ano yung mga anticoagulants? Na-discuss natin ito. Anticoagulants, those drugs ending in "rin". Ano ito? Aspirin, warfarin, heparin, enoxaparin. Yan. Lahat ng drugs ending in "rin" are anticoagulants. Question, sir, why tayo nagbibigay ng anticoagulants? If you notice, ang most ng mga aspirin ay binibigay sa mga hypertensive at those na naka-experience ng stroke. Kasi once na mag-cause ng damage to blood vessels, di ba pwedeng mag-cause ng bleeding? At basically, ang compensatory mechanism dyan to prevent continuous bleeding, magkaklat. The problem is that yung clot mismo pwedeng mag-cause ng obstruction sa blood vessel. Ayan na. So that's why for those who may have history of hypertension at those who may have history ng stroke, nagbibigay ng anticoagulant. Pero situations like nagdi-decrease po ang effect ng anticoagulant by foods in the liver such as green and leafy vegetable. Aba sir, healthy food yun na. Bakit namin i-prevent? Tandaan po ninyo, ang green and leafy vegetable ay mataas po sa vitamin K. At alam naman po natin na ang vitamin K po ay nagkokos ng clotting. So imaginein mo, nagbibigay ka ng anticoagulant para mag-prevent ng clot, tapos isasama po siya dun sa food na mataas ang vitamin K na nagpo-promote ng clotting. So ano ngayon ang gagawin natin? So magka-counteract ngayon sa action ng anticoagulant. So very important yan. Next po, eto naman po. Meron tayong tinatawag na monoamine oxidase inhibitors. These are drugs po. These are drugs, example nito ay imipramine. These are drugs po na mga anti-anxiety at antidepressant. Okay, ngayon, if the patient is taking monoamine oxidase inhibitor, nagdi-decrease po ang metabolism ng drug pagka sinama mo siya sa fermented foods. Bakit? Pag nagtitake ng mga drugs na ito, dapat hindi po siya kino-combine or kasama ng aged cheese, chicken livers, chocolate. Bakit? Kasi may tyramine itong mga foods na ito. O ano namang problema sir sa chicken liver na may tyramine, sa chocolate? Kasi nga nagdi-decrease ng metabolic effect ng monoamine oxidase inhibitor. So we are not meeting the objective para mag-effect dun sa gamot. Okay? So clear po ito ha. Next po. Eto, I don't know if you're familiar with this. Yung tinatawag nating licorice or licorice flavored candy. Familiar kayo nito kasi nabibili ito sa mga sari-sari store eh. Ngayon, if yung long-term use of licorice and licorice flavored candy ay tandaan nyo po, ito po ay nagka-counteract sa effect ng anti-hypertensive. At moreover, pwede pa siyang mag-lead sa toxicity. Kaya hoping you are aware of these foods that may basically affect yung drug absorption effect and at the same time pwedeng mag-lead sa toxicity. Alam nyo to, licorice flavored candy in your sa Gen Z aware kayo dito because you have been exposed sa mga ganitong types of candy. Pagka sa mga patient po na nag-anti-hypertensive, probably never offer this because nga pwedeng maka-counteract sa effect ng anti-hypertensive drug. Okay. So I think I ended up with the supposed coverage topic for this week. I hope that you have learned from our discussion and our makeup classes. So I'll end up my recording.